the crisis part. The man and woman and the whole and the house. And in the church, we got the right soul.
.9 WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Rise and shine. Let's get ready to take on the day. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
Folk, does it wake you up in the morning?
I can't tell when last I hear one. them dogs eating out the yard fowls.
Serious? Come play for the girl. Every morning I leave home, I am greeted by fowls.
I heard a fowl crow the other day, but that was like 1 o'clock sometime around in the morning.
Okay. All right. Good morning, good folks. We are back with you for another activated morning session here on WEFM. Last night was breezy. I hope that everybody slept well. Right. It was breezy to the point where it was a little bit frightening because the wind was quite strong. Yes, right. I was wondering what was going on. But nonetheless, I slept well. Although I do realize the importance of getting a proper night's sleep. Yeah. Right? Yes. This is one of those mornings where a proper night's sleep was needed last night. But we're going to push and go through because I know that it's Christmas season and many other persons are going to be in a similar position, right? Where you're juggling multiple things at one time and you have to try to be as focused as you possibly can, all right? So for those of you in the quote-unquote struggle, because I don't really want to call it a struggle, and if you're trying to help yourself and do better for yourself, it's not quite a struggle, but, that's what it is. 'Tis the season to be making extra money, all right? All right, Dianna, how are you?
I am all right. Talking about that breeze yesterday, it was so strong. A friend of mine said he was talking to a lady and the breeze almost blew away the lady.
Listen.
How strong it was.
That was me yesterday in Middle Street and I am embarrassed because I just saying, boy, because of my size, I looking around to see if anybody is blowing away too, but I like, oh gosh. And I was so happy that it was in Middle Street. It happened and not out on one of the other roads because the buildings would be protecting you a little bit in a way, right? But I was there and I had to stop. And I look around to see if anybody else can blow it too, boy. I was embarrassed.
Look at the time it pays to be a little heavy. Big up to all my big
Have some grounded, boy.
Look at us this morning. You see how these things protect us at times? Boy, my people, look at us.
Yes, I'm a lightweight, right? I'm good with being a lightweight. All right. So yes, folks, it is the season. And before we get into the meat of our conversation this morning, it is the season and it's the season of a lot of frustration for people, right? And yesterday I witnessed something that it kind of unnerved me a bit because of where it was and what was happening. And there's something that I need to say to managers and to supervisors. Sometimes the decisions that are being made, they have an impact on the frontline staff who have to execute these decisions, right? Yesterday, I witnessed several customers in a particular place being very verbal towards some employees of the institution. And while it is the customers did have a point, right? Mm-hmm. They really and truly did have a point because the timing of something that was being done didn't really make sense. It was the verbal abuse that was thrown upon the staff who was executing, as they correctly said, what they were instructed to do. So sometimes I think that us as customers, we vent towards maybe the wrong persons, right? Because the junior staff, they're really and truly, number one, they're not necessarily going to speak up because especially if you're young,
Yes.
you're trying to hold your job, right? You're trying to hold your job and you're not going to say anything because, you might be termed as being insubordinate. You might be termed as being difficult. You know how that whole line of manager and junior staff, how it goes, right? But if you hear your junior staff commenting or saying that this is what their customers are speaking about, or this is what customers have been saying, please listen to them. All right? Because I can't fault the customers for being upset, but the fact that it was vented towards the junior staff who could not do anything because they were working based on instruction, I felt it for them. I felt it for both sets of persons, but I felt it for the junior staff in particular. So, sometimes we just need to find a different way to find redress. Ask for the supervisor, ask for the manager, vent towards those persons, all right? And
All right. So just before we move on, Anne, good morning to you. Joshua, good morning. Joshua, you seem like you were such a miserable child. Oh my goodness. And good morning, Yolan. I hope I called it. That's the name of Joshua's wife, right?
Yolan.
Yolan. Good morning, Yolan. How are you? All the best at work today. I hope Joshua does not stress you too much. If he does, you will tell us. All right.
All right. And good morning to Faye as well, who's already there on the live. And to the many silent listeners. Good morning to you. All right. So last night, came across a story that a new political party will be launched here on December 16th with plans to contest the next general election, right? The party is called the National Liberation Movement of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it says that it is a voice of change and transformation, and says it offers itself to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as the only viable alternative for our people to take the country further into the future with hope, prosperity, sustainable growth for all. The party said, we have listened to Vincentians near and far who are very unhappy with the status quo on both sides of the political divide. All right. So this party, the NLM, is led by former diplomat Dr. Doris Charles Frederick, and its co-leadership, the NML, has decided to contest the next general election for next year. All right, next year it's slated for. So just to give some information on Dr. Charles Frederick, she is a former SVG diplomat and trained in the field of law with an LLB or Bachelor's of Law and a Master's of Law and a PhD in Philosophy of Law. All right, and she is also the wife of former Member of Parliament for Central Leeward Maxwell Charles, and
daughter of Baylis Frederick.
Daughter of Baylis Frederick as well. And that was an interesting article that came out, I think, in Searchlights a few years ago. All right, so we have a new political party that is going to be launched this month. And our question is there space? Is there room? Even mental room for persons to consider a third party here in SVG?
Well, many of them have been saying they want another one. So here is another one for them. Led by I like that there's a third party, to be honest. I like that the ULP and the NDP have a little well, we don't know yet. We have to wait and see. But I'm glad that there's another party and it's led by a woman. I mean,
when I saw it, I remembered your thoughts when you asked the question. If we think, you were asking the question if we should have a female minister of finance, right? Because many men as well are of the opinion that women do much better with finances, right? With juggling finances. And, this is not the first time that we're seeing a female-led political party being launched, right? There was that party for Anicia Richards back a few years ago. And we have seen, I think it's DRP it was called, Anicia Baptiste. Okay. Yeah. I think it was DRP. But I always question whether or not there is space for a third party. I know for me that the thing of it is the candidates, the slate of candidates, right? The slate of candidates has to be strong enough for persons to seriously consider that particular party.
True.
Right?
True.
I always remember when the ULP came out back in the day, they came out with a dream team, right? And I think that's what they actually call themselves the dream team, right? And they came up with a strong set of candidates. So in order for you, and you know, the other thing that I have to look at as well is it has to be a party or persons have to be put forward who persons are going to take seriously.
Yes. Yes.
Right? It can't be just a case where you are polling persons who say that they want to contest the elections, but there isn't, let's say, enough substance or merits or enough there for us to support them in terms of what they have done.
Correct. Especially you're coming out. This is your first entrance, your first everything. You're presenting yourself to everybody. So, you know, all eyes on you, and you have to come out with a bang because people are going to be looking on for those who have been saying, yes, boy, I think we need another party. They're going to be looking at you. So if you come out weak, boy, I'm sorry for you if you come out with a weak start.
And that's the thing, because people don't forget.
No.
People always remember, and you know, people are always so quick to bring up things of the past, right?
Yeah.
As we head into another topic, I want to pose a question to Dianna, because yesterday I noticed an article. Well, it was an opinion piece that came out on Asbot News Network, and it's in relation to two of the persons who are contesting or vying for the seat on the NDP side for West St. George. And I noticed that the tone of the piece had a lot more to do with persons' personal business. So I actually want to find out from Dianna, how much for you, because it's really truly something that has been on my mind for a while, right? How much of a politician's or a possible candidate's personal business or their background influences your decision to vote for them?
I'm not sure if... I'm not sure how or if it should influence your vote, but I think you have to take it into consideration depending on what it is. Because if it's something real dark and shady, this is somebody that you're considering to represent your constituency, to represent you, to go and speak on your behalf and get things done on your behalf and eventually represent the country. So I think you have to take some of it into consideration. I don't want people to dig too deep into, especially into their families. I think they should really leave people's families out of it. But you should look into it. I don't know if it should affect your vote, but yeah.
It's something that crossed my mind years ago, and there were several things that you know, because all of us have a past, right? All of us have a past and a present, right? And the thing of it is, does this diminish the work that I have done, let's say in the public realm, or the work that I can possibly do, right? You know, there was a time when Hillary Clinton was running for US president, and many the talk was out there was that if she can't control her own husband, how can she control a country? You know, and it ticked me off. I'll be very honest. It really ticked me off, because you cannot totally control the actions of another individual. All right. But people look at things within your personal life and make a judgment as to whether or not you are capable of a job. Where my opinion lies is a little bit iffy in a sense, because as I said, we all have our own personal business, but that does not mean that you are not capable of doing a job, right? I would not necessarily say that I'm going to vote for a politician or a candidate who has engaged in domestic abuse, right? And well, I don't think our politicians could run if they have a criminal charge. I won't even say murder. Although to me, the category of murder is a little different as well, too, because I could justify murder in a sense. Right, but let me leave that alone. That's going to take a little bit of explanation. Yes. All right. But you know, if it's instances, let's say you're not condoning cheating, right? But let's say they've been unfaithful to their partner. Is it necessarily going to play heavily in terms of whether or not I vote for this particular candidate? I can't say yes to it, you know. But
I agree with that one, because I mean, you have to look at their qualifications for the job, and that particular thing there, really and truly, I don't think it has anything to do with the job, because you'll find that across all areas. You know, if you find out that your doctor is somebody who's promiscuous going around, would you say, nah, boy, I don't want this person to touch me or something like that? You know, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I see Philbert is asking a question here on the live. How about a no party system? Listen, I would have been all for that. We vote for the best person for our constituency. If I'm getting Philbert's question correct, right? Vote for the best party, best person for our constituency, and let them form a party, right? Because I find that too many times we go along the lines of voting for party, right? You're voting for red, you're voting for yellow, as opposed to the best representation for your constituency, right? So we will see. All right. So that is our.
Guess it don't matter. So I guess it don't matter. One is 6 and the other is half a dozen.
And that, unfortunately, is how a lot of young people are thinking, which is why I think that there is going to be a bit of a difficulty. I've said it before, in terms of getting young persons out to vote. 6 of one, half dozen of the next. Right? That is how many young persons are thinking. And yeah, both parties need to have some work to do in terms of getting young persons out there to vote. Okay? All righty. So we are going to end this segment at this time. And at 7:35, we will bring to you today's traffic talk.